Niners faithful, how are we doing? San Francisco 49ers fans, those faithful to the Bay and to the Bear, how are we doing? Are we hanging in there since the Super Bowl? I don't know. It has been one heck of a football year or season for the San Francisco 49ers. Let's get into your news and notes. It's been a while. Maybe it's been like a few weeks or months since my last update. So it's been a while. Let's do a little bit of an update. Let's get to today. Okay, so let's talk about how the Niners ended their season. Let's talk about how the season ended. Then let's go to what today we're a few weeks away from free agency, and then let's go to the future. Let's talk possibly about the draft, a little bit of free agent projecting a tad bit, but let's just get to it. Bad news first. The San Francisco 49ers not only were eliminated from the playoffs, but unfortunately, the Seattle Seahawks, yes, the Niners' NFC West rival. Fred Warner says that we hate these guys, right? The Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl and hoisted the Lombardi in the Niners Stadium, at Levi's Stadium. That is the worst that it can be. That's essentially like the worst that it can get, right? What else do you want to see? What makes it worse? I don't think anything. Now that's two NFC West teams that have won in the recent past now, in the Seahawks and the Rams. And the Niners are like left out there. Left out in the cold when it comes to winning those trophies as of late. And what were some things? What were some things that eliminated the Niners? Well, first of all, it's like the Niners don't have quality talent in the margins, in my opinion. So it's like they have some good talent at the top, right? We're talking about Trent Williams. We're talking about George Kittle. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey. But how many good, serviceable players with upside do the Niners truly have? Honestly, Malik Mustafa, their defensive line still has upside, of course, right? Their defensive line, CJ West, Alfred Collins, Michael Williams. But it's like the Niners really, it's like there's a gulfing class between the Kittles, the Christian McCaffreys, and then you have not Tatum Bethunes, but the D Winters, who are sort of not even. It's like the Niners players in the margins. Renardo Green, right? It's like they're not even necessarily treading water with the upside of swimming and becoming. It's like they're just not drowning, right? So it's like there isn't enough upside with the players in the margins, and you could see that, right? It's like Seattle, their offensive line, they just got there with Zabel in the draft. Their defensive line, just all killers, so to speak, right? Proverbial. But it's like the Niners don't have that quality depth. And we sort of knew that, didn't we, though? We knew that. The Niners said going into this season that this isn't an all-in year. This was not the all-in season for the Niners, and they were good. It was good of them to get to have such a good record and to get such good, they got a decent playoff position. Well, not really. It was like they were sixth, weren't they? But they did well. They did good enough. They beat the Eagles in the playoffs. That counts for something, right? They won that wild card matchup. But in order to freaking get to the mountaintop, the Niners are absolutely going to have to they're going to have to improve their roster sort of on the margins, bring that overall depth, talent up by a good amount. And that's going to have to entail, at some point in time, someday, the San Francisco 49ers are going to have to have a decent draft class. They haven't had one in forever. They're going to have to someday draft well, or else their top-end players whose windows are closing right now, Kittle, Williams, McCaffrey, right? Those players will not only not be replaced, but they're depreciating sort of it. They're not getting any younger, and nobody is stepping up and taking their place in any way, shape, or form. It's like okay, let's just talk about it. Trent Williams, who is like a Niners up-and-coming lineman, who is even a solid lineman. We got like the Brendels and the Colton McKivitz. I guess they're somewhat solid, but it's like beyond Williams, if he goes down, there's not much to talk about with that Niners offensive line, right? So it's like the linebackers without Fred Warner, cream of the crop, right? Fred Warner. Without Fred Warner, though, they just don't have it. Like nobody was able to step up, and so what we saw was not only as Niners play, and the Niners did well this year. They had a great record overall. They did well, exceeded expectations in my opinion. But when you had those dynamic players going down, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, there was nobody to take their spot. There just wasn't anybody. Like, Nick Bosa ended up like second on the team in sacks. Not good. Not good. There was nobody to step up. And of course, depth can be a novelty, hard to come by in the NFL. You still got to have it. You absolutely must have it. And it's like you have to have serviceable and capable players. And also, you need to draft well enough that a player can step up with some upside. Like Tatum Bethune, he stepped up, but not really with any upside. It's like, what do we... The Niners can't really feel comfortable with him starting at linebacker next year. Or like, D. Winters didn't necessarily step up. The Niners really didn't have those young players stepping up. And really, like Jake Tonges? What's going on? Like, hear me out, right? There wasn't a lot of players. Not a lot of Niners youth really stepped up, and we are going to see that really come to bite the Niners, in my opinion, in the future. But hey, that's done. The season is over. The Seahawks took everything that the Niners have been working for, and we continue, though. So, out of the playoffs, here's one thing that just kills me, and it's all good. He will not change, and that's fine. However, Brock Purdy's mobility might be good in a one-off scenario. So, like, he might have a few brilliant plays to win a game. However, consistently, game in and game out, the check down is the better play, and he just won't do it. He simply will not do it. Brock Purdy refuses the prosperity of a check down, which is going to... It's another one of those things where you don't like to see it, in my opinion. It's like there are very few quarterbacks who are able to successfully sort of improvise and end up with the end play being better than just a simple check down. I get that Brock Purdy probably won't do that. The check down is absolutely what I believe made Mac Jones such a prolific quarterback with the Niners in Brock Purdy's stead. But I'm just saying it is going to be the Niners have an uphill battle with a quarterback that can have a perfect pocket, yet break containment for no reason in that case, and scramble and having the end product be just a question mark. The check down is by far the more efficient and effective play. And we're just not going to see it as much. So I think the Niners are working, they're sort of going uphill. They're fighting. It's an uphill fight with Brock for reasons like that. But I think that can be mitigated. I will go further into that when we talk about the draft in a few minutes. But just wanted to get that out there. That's been an overall thing. It's like Matthew Stafford, for example, Super Bowl winning quarterback, does not need mobility. Doesn't need to run around a lot. Sam Darnold, Super Bowl winning quarterback, did not need to run around a whole lot. Now, Patrick Mahomes does need to run around. He runs around and does whatever. There's one Patrick Mahomes. There's one. Name a bunch of other quarterbacks who just are born a natural sort of scramblers, or often break and scrambles and break down their plays, that are just completely successful consistently. Like Mahomes. He's one of one. Stop it. The Niners need that consistency, and Brock can bring it. He just needs to... It's just the only thing. It's like I'm seeing what are the things that separate the winners, the Lombardi hoisters from the losers. And like having a quarterback that is incredibly efficient at just making that right check down play. Anyways, okay, I'm done. Raheem Morris is the San Francisco 49ers' new defensive coordinator. I like the move. I don't love it. I would have loved Brian Flores. I would have loved Jim Schwartz, right? We love those names. Raheem Morris, we like it. We don't love it. Here's the reason that we like it, though, is that Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan likes Raheem Morris. He's a Raheem Morris guy. They know each other. They are buddies. That helps so much. Will it help the Niners defense? Not necessarily. I'll tell you how the Niners can help their defense. But the knowledge that Morris and Shanahan know and like each other, like, why are you saying that that's like the biggest upside? Because however much Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL. Only when he is able to really focus on offense. When Kyle Shanahan is able to trust the defensive coordinator and solely focus and worry, right, and focus on offense, Kyle Shanahan is essentially best in class. Raheem Morris gives Kyle Shanahan that chance, okay? But like Flores and Schwartz are so good that there's no chance needed. They're just that good. Raheem Morris's defenses have been on the average. So how do the Niners help? I believe that in the draft, free agency trades, the Niners should absolutely focus on defense first. Defense first. Defense first. There's essentially one reason why. Is because, well, there's a few reasons. And let me list why I think the Niners need to focus in all aspects of their offseason on defense first. Is that new defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, is going to need weapons, and also he hasn't had the best defenses. He's going to need to be overloaded in order to succeed, in my opinion. And as his success goes, I believe the Niners will go. So here's my sort of theory, and I think it's actually been put into practice, is that if the Niners can really load up on their defensive talent, if they can finally get to the ability to get to the quarterback again, and to actually maybe possibly cause a turnover or two, which I think will return with the re-additions of Fred Warner and Nick Bosa specifically. But the Niners need to load up on defense, because defense with Raheem Morris, you're looking at an uphill battle to be good and great. But however, I believe that the reason that Brock Purdy gets paid so much, the reason that Kyle Shanahan is best in class offensively, is because I believe that Kyle Shanahan can do more with less on offense than most offensive coordinators and offensive coaches in the NFL. So I am willing to short Kyle Shanahan's offense led by Brock Purdy a few dynamic playmakers trade them for defense, because I believe that Shanahan can scheme up ways to score points. Now, he needs baseline talent, right? As we saw versus Seattle. The Niners got rocked repeatedly for multiple games, and the Niners just couldn't score, right? But they couldn't do a lot of things, right? And so I think that truly Shanahan could and should be able to manufacture a decent enough offense without a player. So here's what I mean. I would rather, and I know this is difficult, I would rather have Max Crosby on the Niners than Justin Jefferson. Solely because I think that Max Crosby's talent, his ability to get to the pass rusher on defense, supersedes Justin Jefferson and his ability on offense. Now, I get it. Justin Jefferson would be like the best wide receiver in he already is the best, right? But it would be like Christian McCaffrey, like a dichotomy. It would be amazing, a paradigm shift on offense if Justin Jefferson was it. However, look, I'm sorry to say this, but it's like the Niners drafted Cowing. They drafted Watkins. Kyle Shanahan needs to use the weapons that were drafted for him, that he essentially probably drafted himself, and scheme them open. It's your fault that you have those players at wide receiver. It's only the Niners' fault, right? Like, nobody else drafted, nobody else got free. Like, the Niners, it is now Kyle Shanahan's responsibility to create and manufacture players like Cowing and like Watkins open to via game plan and gameplay to scheme those guys open. I believe it's easier for Shanahan to scheme those guys open than it will be for Raheem Morris to do what he does to hopefully make the Niners a great defense. I think that the Niners really need a Max Crosby. I think that they really need a healthy, knock on wood, if he actually was, Trey Hendrickson, defensive lineman from Cincinnati, who's now a free agent. They really, really need tone setters on defense when Kyle Shanahan inherently sets the tone on offense. So that's why I really think the Niners should just really get that defense in tip-top shape. There are a few there are a few DBs that could follow Morris as well. Is Kobe Bryant one of them? Played on the Rams. I think that he played for Morris, maybe or not. I'd love to see the Niners get a few defensive backs who can who can make some plays, and there are a few in the draft, but also get guys who can rush the passer. They did a better job stopping the run. The Niners need some pass rushers on the defensive line and some playmakers in their defensive backfield to really, really, really succeed. So now all the rumors, there are going to be so many rumors out there and so much conjectures because it's like teams are starting to release players. So it's like you could literally say that any of these players, like, okay, what was it? Was Bradley Chubb, he was released today. Tyreek Hill was released. It's like all these players may or may not, right, come to the Niners. It is very tough to speculate, especially this early, about players that may or may not be available. In a few weeks, once free agency really starts to come around and the draft is really priming up, we'll start to project free agents. But right now, we can only, in my opinion, project what I would want to see in the profile of a free agent. Defense, defensive backfield playmaking, defensive line, rushing the passer, getting to the quarterback. That's absolutely imperative. So the rumor, but I will tell you one rumor. The rumor has it that Jawan Jennings of the Niners, yes, Jawan Jennings will not re-sign, that he does not want to re-sign with the Niners, that he's not going to re-sign with the Niners, and that it's sort of a foregone conclusion. So take that rumor. That was like a Twitter rumor. So take that for what it's worth. But if that's the case, the Niners are really, really going to be looking, looking for their wide receivers. Now, as I just said a few minutes ago, I think that they have some guys in-house who it's like you got to either use them or trade them for draft picks and then draft guys, right? But like you can't just have Cowing, have Watkins on the squad. I just never use them, right? Demarcus Robinson, I believe, is a free agent as well. Jawan Jennings is gone. The Niners could potentially not have any wide receivers in a few weeks on the squad, right? Here is one name that I absolutely love. Okay, I love Malachi Lemon from wide receiver. He's coming in the draft. He's like a projected probably in the teens. He's a wide receiver out of USC. And I have pinpointed Lemon as a player who I absolutely love. Now, is he big? Is he that big? No, not at all. But the things that Lemon does, some people compare, okay, think about this. This is a wide receiver who's coming out in the draft, who's compared to it's like Puka Nacua meets Amon-Ra St. Brown. But what is one thing that Lemon does better than I believe any receiver in the draft, better than any receiver on the Niners? He does this. And remember this because we're wrapping it up. And I love, and what I talked about earlier, I had a problem. I said that Brock Purdy scrambled too much, too many broken plays, and he doesn't check down. I don't think that he will change. So because he won't change, the Niners should draft Lemon because Lemon is absolutely insane when the play breaks down. He would be Brock Purdy's go-to guy, number one receiver, would be targeted a lot and plays predominantly like he is, I guess he thrives out of the slot, but I believe he can play any wide receiver position. Now, he is limited in height, right? He's only 5'11". However, he can snag it. He can go up and contest and snag it. He is special, okay? Malachi Lemon from USC. Remember that name, Lemon from USC. Lemon from USC. Look, did you see how I just said Lemon from USC? Look, I don't do that generally unless, like my brain doesn't do that unless the dude is special. And I'm telling you, when the play breaks down, and with Brock Purdy, he will intentionally break the play down. There is no better player in the scramble than Lemon. He is absolutely amazing at that special skill. How about this, though? A few seasons ago, when I was scouting when I was reviewing the Niners draft, I said this about a player. I said this about Talanoa Hufanga. I said, look, I get that he was a 6th-round draft pick, but Hufanga is always around the ball. He finds the ball, and he was always around the ball. I kept on saying that during the Niners Green Bay game when it was snowing a few seasons ago, like 3 seasons ago now. Who got that ball? Special teams in the end zone. Talanoa Hufanga. It wasn't luck. It's because he's always around the ball. And he's always in line to get the ball. That's Hufanga. Lemon is best in class when the play breaks down. With Brock Purdy, you know that the play is going to break down. He is that type of quarterback. He is a scrambler. I will make something, he'll try to make something happen and not as opposed to pocket, I am going to check down. So because of that, I think it would behoove the Niners even to trade up for Lemon. I would love a trade up for Lemon and then just focus offensive line, defensive line, offensive line, defensive line. And I'd be a happy C-Train. Kenyon Sadiq, he's a tight end out of Oregon. He has been projected by multiple people to be the Niners pick. This is so early. I'm projecting draft, but we have fun doing it. It's a great time. Plus, you guys will be able to go and look up those Lemon highlights, right? But Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of University of Oregon, is a first-round prospect. I like him, but I don't love him. And I think that the Niners can do I think that the Niners can do better for their value for their first-round draft pick. Hey, any player, via trade, via free agency signing or draft, any player out there who's eligible to be in the NFL, who would you like to see in a Niners uniform next season? Any player. I would, if it's realistic, we'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it on the comments, and I'll bring it up in future videos. But who is one player who you would love to see in a Niners uniform opening kickoff next season, right? Comment below. And of course, thanks so much. Thank you to those subscribers. And of course, welcome in those who aren't subscribed. Thank you so much for supporting C-Train Station. Thank you so much for chatting Niners. I love to talk Niners football. I love to talk Bay Area sports in general, life, right, with y'all. So thank you so much for watching. And of course, for your San Francisco 49ers content, like, follow, subscribe, drop a comment by, and I'll see you next time at C-Train Station. Have a good one, and thanks again.